Alright, welcome to part 2 of your video on citing your sources. So recall last time we watched a video on how to cite your sources using EasyBib, and today we're going to go through how to use PowerPoint as a bibliography. So this is the same bibliography format that you'll be using. In fact, I'll just be giving you this PowerPoint. And so the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, what is a bibliography? A bibliography is a collection of the sources you will use in your research paper. A bibliography includes all the quotes or paraphrases you will use in your paper and a brief summary of each source. A bibliography is important to research writing because it helps you keep track of your sources and the information you have gathered. A bibliography will also help reduce the possibilities of you accidentally plagiarizing information because you have already organized the information for use in your paper. Therefore, you shouldn't accidentally take from the source. Okay, so here's your directions. First, you need to watch this video, and if you are not going to have the chance to watch it on Educator the first time, I will be including the link in your PowerPoint that you will be getting at a later time. And then for each of your sources, you will need the correct MLA citation, which if you've already forgotten how to do that, go back and watch part 1 with how to cite using EasyBib. And then you'll need a summary of your source and all the quotes or paraphrases that you think you'll be using in your paper. So the following 3 slides are an example, and the rest of the slides are provided to you to use to fill out your PowerPoint bibliography. So from last time, you'll recognize the source from Edwin Lane at the BBC News on how technology is changing disaster relief. You will notice that I have on this slide in particular, I have my citation. And then the next slide, I'm going to have my summary, and I'm going to give you a second so you can read that if you would like. So you can see I have put the summary into my own words, and I've essentially told myself and anybody else who's interested what my source is about. Now, this becomes something important later when we write an annotated bibliography, but it's also important for your research. Although in our paper we're only using a handful of sources, in some papers you may be using 20 or 30 sources. And if you're using that many sources, sometimes we forget what all of our sources are and what they are about. So we write a summary and put it in our bibliography to remind us of what information we have. Now next you'll see that this slide has one of the quotes that I'm going to use for my source. For every quote that I'm going to use, I would include a new slide. So if I was going to use 3 quotes from the source, I would have 3 slides. And the same goes for a paraphrasing. If I'm going to paraphrase the source, I want to go ahead and try to paraphrase it and put it into my bibliography. And so what I've done is I've left you space where you can paraphrase. And since I'm not going to paraphrase this particular source, I just put up a slide to show you how you would do it. So you would have your quote from the source that you would be using in your paper, and your example, your paraphrase that you'd be using as well. So you will be taking this slideshow presentation, and you will be turning it into your bibliography. If you are a freshman and you're watching this class, you're only going to, or this video, excuse me, you will be only filling in the first couple slides. You'll see that I only made you a summary. In source slides, you'll have to add in a quote and paraphrase slide. And if you are a sophomore, you will be required to have 5 sources, so I've made you enough slides to accommodate your 5 sources. If you have more sources than that, that's fine, but keep in mind that the more sources we have, the longer our